Sure, you can hear the traffic out here today. I'm outside, but you read when and where you can, right? Moses chapter 3. God created all things spiritually before they were naturally upon the earth. First man and first flesh created, woman a helpmeet for man. Thus the heaven and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day I, God, ended my work, and all things which I had made, and I rested on the seventh day from all my work, and all things which I had made were finished, and I, God, saw that they were good. And I, God, blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it I had rested from all my work which I, God, had created and made. And now behold, I say unto you, that these are the generations of the heaven and of the earth, when they were created, in the day that I, the Lord God, made the heaven and the earth. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For I, the Lord God, created all things of which I have spoken spiritually, before they were naturally upon the face of the earth. For I, the Lord God, had not caused it to rain upon the face of the earth. And I, the Lord God, had created all the children of men, and not yet a man to till the ground. For in heaven created I them, and there was not yet flesh upon the earth, neither in the water, neither in the air. But I, the Lord God, spake, and there went up a mist from the earth, and watered the whole face of the ground. Now you might remember in my reading of Genesis chapter 2 that I mentioned that there were two kind of creation accounts, the spiritual, one from God's perspective and one from Adam's perspective. And I hold by that. But this tells us that the creation account that is given to us from God's perspective is the creation of the spirit and the organization of spirits in heaven, getting ready and preparing the earth for the flesh. So at this point, there's no animals living on the earth, no flesh. They don't have their physical bodies yet. At this point, they are still just spirits. They've been brought to the earth. The earth has been prepared for them, but they are not yet given physical form. And we continue. And I, the Lord God, formed man from the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul, the first flesh upon the earth, the first man also. Nevertheless, all things were before created, but spiritually they were created and made according to my word. Note, Adam was the first flesh and the first man. These are two separate things. The first physical life on this earth was Adam. The animals and plants and all that came afterwards. They were all created spiritually first, and the earth was prepared. But Adam was the first physical life on the earth, first physical body. Sorry, the wind's getting to me. And I, the Lord God, planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there I put the man whom I had formed. So now we're getting Adam's perspective, sort of. It's going to be Adam's perspective, even though God is revealing this to Moses. We are seeing how Adam viewed the creation. He was the first thing created, and then the plants. He was the first physical life, then the plants. Even though everything was created before that, it was prepared spiritually. Keep that in mind. And out of the ground made I, the Lord God, to grow every tree naturally, that is pleasant to the sight of man, and man could behold it, and it became also a living soul. For it was spiritual in the day that I created it. For it remaineth in the sphere in which I, God, created it, yea, even all things which I prepared for the use of man. And man saw that it was good for food. And I, the Lord God, planted the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and also the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And I, the Lord God, caused a river to go out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted, and became into 4 heads. And I, the Lord God, called the name of the first Pison, and it compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where I, the Lord God, created much gold. And the gold of that land was good, and there was bdellium and the onyx stone. And the name of the second river was called Gihon, and the same that compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia. And the name of the third river was Hiddekel, that which goeth toward the east of Assyria. And the fourth river was the Euphrates. All very much the same as in Genesis, not much change there. And I, the Lord God, took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And I, the Lord God, commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. Nevertheless, thou mayest choose for thyself, for it is given unto thee. But remember that I forbid it, for in the day thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. That is an important change there. It wasn't just God saying, don't eat it, but he was saying, look, you have a choice. You have free will. But I have forbidden, I've given you a command not to eat it. It's not that he couldn't eat it. It's not that he lacked the ability. God is saying, you have the ability to choose. But if you do, know you are breaking my commandment. And I, the Lord God, said unto mine only begotten, that it was not good that the man should be alone. Wherefore I will make an helpmeet for him. And out of the ground I, the Lord God, formed every beast of the field, and every fowl of the air, and commanded that they should come unto Adam, to see what he would call them. And they were also living souls, for I, God, breathed into them the breath of life, and commanded that whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that should be the name thereof. So again, they were already created in the spirit, but now they are being created physically. And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But as for Adam, there was not found an helpmeet for him. And I, the Lord God, caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And I took one of his ribs, and closed up the flesh in the stead thereof. And the rib which I, the Lord God, had taken from man, made I a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, This I know now, is bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Now, that simple change in the narrative, I mean, it's a profound change, but it's fairly simple in stating the first creation in chapter 1 was spirit. He created the earth, and then he prepared it spiritually. He prepared it for physical life. And he created the spirits of everything, preparing them to inhabit this earth that he created. But then, after all the preparations were done, he formed the physical body of Adam, placing his spirit in him, creating or making Adam a living soul. The first flesh, the first physical body on this earth was Adam. Then came the plants, then came the animals, and last came Eve. It's fascinating stuff.